There are three huge advantages that we have that a monopoly does not have. One is monopolies have to pay a return to their shareholders. So compared to that issue, where it costs zero, there it costs probably 6%, 7% rate of return on capital. The second advantage is we don't pay taxes. We're a nonprofit government agency, so we don't pay taxes. That's worth another 3 or 4 basis points. And then the third advantage is we have 2.5 employees. They have 20,000 employees.
Well, a locally owned project generates 1.1 to 2.8 times the number of jobs per megawatt that an absentee-owned project does. Just 6 megawatts are going to generate anywhere from $1 to $6 million more for the Colorado economy because they're going to be locally owned instead of absentee-owned.
And on that $85 million, we'll generate about a $5 million operating margin every year that we can use to drive into renewable energy projects, energy efficiency programs, and good things in our own county. And we estimate that an $85 million revenue stream brought local eventually is worth about $1 billion in local economic vitality.
If you own your own system and there's a profit, you can do what you want to with that. You can lower rates, you can invest it back in your community, you can transfer it to the general fund, but it's a community decision. You know, when you're on your own system, in our case we have commission meetings every other Monday night, the customers can come into those meetings and they can speak.
The beautiful thing about phasing stuff in and the beautiful thing about natural gas is if something's cheaper later, you just bring on more of that something that's cheaper and you burn less of your natural gas, right? You need all that natural gas capability for your reliability to start with. So buy it. It's cheap capital to buy that natural gas plant. So as your renewables get cheaper, bring them on the grid, turn down your generators. Gas does not have the problem like coal does that you can't turn it down and still maintain good efficiency.
Germany has had since about 1999 or 2000 a very consistent policy called a feed-in tariff. The idea for them was like, rather than having a bunch of people parking their money in a savings account, let's let them invest in being energy self-reliant and get a better return on investment. We'll create all these jobs and economic development. We'll get all sorts of renewable energy on the grid and all of its ancillary benefits, and we'll be able to see it take off, and it did.
So all the plant costs are figured in here, amortized over 25 years. Everything is, all the upfront costs are in. So what we see is we start at 6.3, and for a penny additional a kilowatt hour, you can get all the way down to about 70% carbon dioxide emissions reduction, and your penetration of renewables is 40%, which I think is pretty impressive.
And so the fact that Marin exists has launched this cascade of entrepreneurship and venture investment in a marketplace that was starving to death. At a time when people needed something real to happen, we stepped up and did it. We'll never have to look our grandkids in the eye and say we were afraid when courage was needed. Thank you.